Hello, Alan.
Hi, Mario. How you doing?
How are you?
Everything's good, Baruch Hashem.
Good.
You think we'll have any customers today?
Who?
We'll have any customers today? You think we'll have any customers today?
Oh, Ernie. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, Michigan, this changes.
What can you do?
Now, what we'll do is when he's on the away, I'll get to know when he sends the videos. I'll process them and send it to everybody. And it's on you to watch it if you want. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah, okay, so when you have a time, you'll put it on at regular time?
I'll send, the moment I get it, I'll process it and then I'll send it. No, not a regular time.
I see, okay.
Ayin Amud Aleph. So how come when we drain an abscess, we said it's permitted versus the case of being boiled a basula on Shabbos? More it says, Hasam pocket v'okir. By an abscess, the pus is gathered and it's completely been removed from any flesh. All you got to do is make a hole in it, it comes out. Hacha, but by blood that's in the basulim, it's a combination. Rashi says, pakud v'hu v'lo okir. It's lo okir legamri, elanivla k'tzas b'ksolim. The blood's a little absorbed in the walls. Aval b'sheinem achuber kishar damar ivorim elakonus. Most of it's gathered, some of it's in the limbs. So it's more connected l'mechuber, and therefore, ein muchan lot says, and therefore that's why there would be osir. Ravami shar lemivil b'tchila b'shabbos. Ravami permitted to have relations on Shabbos for the first time. Arbelei rabbanon. V'alo ksiva ksubasa. You're not allowed to have relations if if your wife doesn't have a ksuba, and here they didn't write the ksuba. Armelu atvasu metatlin. They gave her metaltalin before Shabbos that was worth about the ksuba, and at least he was makayim the kinyan. He himself had relations Shabbos. Rav Yehuda shar lemivul b'tchila b'yontiv. Rav Yehuda permitted having relations on yontiv. Amar Papi Rava loy teva b'yontiv sharav b'Shabbos. Don't say he permitted yontiv but prohibited on Shabbos. Really, who adin afilu b'Shabbos nami shor. It was permitted even on Shabbos. Umay shay kachay Rav Papi Mishmei Rava Amar b'yontiv shari b'Shabbos aser. Although Rav Papa said no, there's a difference. It's permitted on yontiv but prohibited on Shabbos. Now, why would there be a difference? Armalei Rav Papa Rav Papa. My daitech. What are you thinking? Mitoch shehutra chabur letzarach hutra nami shul letzarach. Are you learning? Oh, here's Johnny. 6 o'clock was a good time for Johnny.
He's here.
I'm here.
Hi, Johnny.
Hi, I'm in town. How are you?
Good. I'm traveling to
Aleichem.
Portugal on Monday.
I heard.
Yeah.
So
Well, we're going to figure out whether I'm going to do a Daf Yomi live. We have to figure out the right time, or I'm going to do a Zoom tape, and then everyone will listen by Zoom. By
You have to do a Zoom tape.
So we're on Zayin Amud Aleph. You would
okay.
say because it's permitted to make a wound on Yontif, you're allowed to shecht an animal. So you're maybe there's a svara to say that you're allowed to make a wound even if it's not tzara. If that's the case, you'd be able to fire up incense. Since you're allowed to burn to cook, but we know it's not the case. It's prohibited to make mugmar on Yontif. Using mugmar is not something that everybody benefits from. You're allowed to do something that most people benefit from. A deer wanders into his backyard. He wants to shecht it. No, maybe venison is not something that's appreciated by all people. It's not shalach al nefesh. You're going to tell me you're not allowed to shecht the deer? That's not the case. Meaning something that the body could use, and everyone can benefit from deer meat. But mugmer, it's not everybody benefits from that. Rav Yochanan gave a psak in Sidon, Osir livo b'tchila b'Shabbos. You're not allowed to have relations for the first time on Shabbos. Now, can you use the language hoira le'isr, mi'ikar hoira le'isr in? Yes, but not. Hoira beis hillel sheitin nizirot sheva shemachiris. Beis Hillel paskin for Hileni Amalka that she should be in Nazir another 7 years. Vinami kiadatanya chuta shedr shenifsek berubo divrab Rebbe. What makes a treifa? If more than 50% of the spinal cord was broken, he's a treifa. Rabbi Yaakov Omer afilu nikiv, even if it has a hole in it. Hoy Rabbi Yaakov kereb Yaakov. Hoy Rabbi kereb Yaakov. Even though it was a yisr. Am Ravuna ein alachik Rabbi Yaakov. But we see the word hoyra was used for yisr. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Masniachi. Am Rav Avo Shol Rabbi Yishmael ben Yaakov de Minsoras Rabbi Yochanan Mitzaydim. The Ana Shmoi Mao Livo B'Tchila B'Shabbos. They asked, "Are you permitted to have relations on Shabbos?" V'Omer Aser. The Hilchos Amuter Livo B'Tchila B'Shabbos. The halacha psuka that the Shulchan Aruch brings and the Rambam brings is you're allowed to have relations with a basul the first time on Shabbos. We're not worried about chavala. We're not worried about pain or anything like that. Whether you marry an almana, whether you marry a basul, you need birchas chasanim. You need sheva brachas. At least once, we'll see. Almana doesn't require bracha. If someone who had never been married before married almana, then you make all 7 brachas. Then you don't. How do I know that you have to have 10 people for Sheva Brachos? Boaz took 10 people in the Ziknei year. Vayomer Shvu po vayeshevu. Uvoaz Amon Shanas Almana Ava. Rus was an Amon and he was an Almana. How come they're having a Birchas Chasanim? What does it mean? Ma'ayinatuna bracha d'Ravuna ayinatuna bracha kol shiva. And Almana, they only make the Birchas Sheva Brachos once, not all 7 days. Yom Echad tuna bracha, but not 7 days. We learned a few days ago that the Chachamim made a takana that you have to have a party for your wife at least 3 days. B'mai. Now, who are we talking about? Iba Bachor, if it's an unmarried man, Amrit Shiva. We learn Sheva. Iba Alman Amrit Yom Echad. So where do you come up with 3? By a man who had been married before, he has 1 day Sheva Brachos and 3 days Simcha. You have 7 days the bracha, but 3 days you have to make a party. And you don't work. When it says Simcha, it means you have to stay home and not work. You make a bracha 7 days for a psula, and 1 day for an almana. My love of fila almana shenisas lebacher. This seems to imply even a widow who married an unmarried man. La almon. It's if an almana married an almon, then they only have 1 day. But lebacher my shiva. But if an almana marries a single man who's never been married before, you do 7 days. If that's correct, listening mavarchi lebsula shiva. It's sort of said for a basula 7. Ula almana shenisis lebacher shiva. Ula almana yom echad. So the Gemara says, Milsa psiktik tani. The Bryce is giving you a general rules, not getting into machlekes. The leka psula de batzur mishiva. He wants to tell us that by a psula it's never be less than 7. The leka almana de batzur miyam echad. And an almana will never have less than 1 day. But the other issues, it could be that a almana could be more if she marries a bocher.
Can the Sheva Brachas under the chuppah be fulfill the Yotze for the first day
No,
without this? Have to have separate Yisuda.
that's part of the Suda.
Okay.
The Sheva Brachos we're talking about here is they made a Suda 1 day, and you have to have Sheva Brachos. Hi, Harold. We're on Zion Amud Beis on the top. Guf Rav Nachman. Amar li Huna bar Noson. Tana. Minayin lebirchas chasarim basara. How do I know I need to have a minyan for Sheva Brachos? Shenemar, it says by Boa. Somebody has to mute their, okay. Shenemar, vayikach asara nashim miziknei ha'ir, vayomer shvupo. Boaz gathered 10 people to get married. Rabbi Vomer mehocha. V'makelos baruch Elokim Hashem imkor Yisrael. That means with a kahal, you have to have at least 10 for a kahal, you make a bracha for Hashem, which has to do with makor. Makor means the uterus. Now, Rav Nachman, b'haikrad Ravo, my dorshpei. Rav Nachman, who darshan from Vayikach Asara Nashim, what does he do with the other bracha, other pasuk, b'makelos? Maboy lelechadetanya, I Rav Meir Oimer. Inayin shafilu who born to me iman amru shir layam. How do we know that even embryos and fetuses at the Yam Suf sang Shira? Shenemar b'makelos baruch hu Elokim Hashem nimkor Yisrael. That the fetuses that were in the makor, in the uterus, they also blessed Hashem. The idich in kein lemakra mi beten. My makor aliske makor means it refers to the dealings of getting married. Rav Avo b'aikrad Rav Nachman my darshpei. How come Rav Avo doesn't learn from Vayikach Asara Nashim? Hahu meboile the midrash. We needed to learn the din of Amoni v'lo Amonis, Moavi v'lo Moavis. Boaz wanted to make the rule in front of 10 men that you can marry a female Moabite. Now, if it was only for the bracha, you don't need zakenim or chachamim, you could run anybody. Must be, since they have the zakenim, it has to do with halachic issue. Now, if you're doing halachic discussion, why do you need 10? You don't need a big amount of chachamim to adjudicate law. However, the Gemara says in lefesume milsa, they had to publicize this, and if you want to publicize it, you have to have 10.
Wasn't Rus? Wasn't Rus converted already before she married Boaz?
Yeah, but with a Moavi who converts to Judaism, you can't marry a regular Jew because Moavi lo yavo amoni b'kal Hashem.
So, but Moav,
We're talking about a convert. So, but a female convert you can marry.
I know, but why do we have to say Amoni v'lo Amois right there that he had to tell? She was already Jewish, so she does have the.
She wasn't Jewish. She was a Jewish Moab. She converted.
So she loses the status of a Moavi.
No, you don't lose the status of a Moab. If you're a Mitzri and you convert,
so you lose that status of a
Mitzri. You're a Mitzri Rishon.
Yeah, but a Moavi, you don't have to wait. You do the first time. You don't have to wait. Do we have that same thing by Moav, that Moavi, as to do a Mitzri? You have to wait three generations?
No. Moavi, you can never marry, ever.
No, but I'm talking about Rus. Rus was a Moab.
A male Moabite
I know.
can never marry.
I know, but Rus was a
Because
female.
Moavi velo Moavit. The Isser only applies to the male Moabites. But
So
to a
that's why-
female Moabite, but she's still a Moabite, but the
Not
din
really.
is she can get married.
She doesn't lose the status when she converted before she married Boaz, right? Did she
Yes.
convert?
Yes.
Did she convert when she married
Yes.
before?
No,
Oh,
but
she did.
married, she converted when she says Elokai Elokai is when she converted.
So by the time Boaz married her, she was a full-fledged Jew. She
But
lost
you're
this.
still but you're missing something, Elazar. She's a Jewess she's a Ger Moavit.
Which is forbidden, of course. So
Ger
that's what he
Moavit.
wanted to tell us.
Ger
That
Moavit.
she-
So the halacha is
Yeah.
that you can marry a Ger Moavit.
Okay.
But only because it says Moavi below Moavit.
Right. Okay.
If it wasn't for that drasha, you wouldn't be able to marry her, even though she converted to Judaism. Just like if a Moabite converted to Judaism, you can't marry him. He can marry a mamzer, he can marry another ger. There's other people he can marry. He can't marry regular Yisrael.
So could they convert him? They can't convert him then.
No, but
Whoever
you're allowed to-
convert,
he can convert
he could.
and he can marry other people. He can
But
marry a
so he-
mamzer, he can marry another ger.
But he could convert. Yeah.
There's a lot of people who can marry, and therefore he's a Jew.
Okay.
But
But he
he's
can't marry
who he
anything.
can marry.
Okay. Okay, I didn't know. Yeah. So it says lo yovo means he can never be
But
accepted.
by a Mitzri is Dor Shlishi. So a Mitzri converts to Judaism. He's a first generation Mitzri.
He's
Can
a
he marry?
full-fledged
Can
Jew.
he marry? Can he marry in Klal Yisrael? No.
No.
He can marry a Mamzeret. He can marry a Moavi. He can marry a Ger. He can marry a Psuadaka. Now, he has a son.
Right, I know.
Son is a Mitzri Sheni. Can he marry? No.
No.
If his son now is a Mitzri Shlish, so you see, Elazar, he never loses his name Mitzri.
Okay, yeah.
The same with the Moabite. Now, the next generation, Rus's daughter or son, then it's done. Then they're Jews. But she was a Ger Moavi. She can't lose that. Her
Okay.
child will be fully Jewish. A Mitzri, no. A Mitzri has to go through the process of Mitzri Sheni, Mitzri Shlishi. A Moabite male, he might know that he's a sixth generation Moabite. Yeah.
Never lo yovo.
But still a Yovel.
Yeah.
So they don't lose their lineage, except Rus's children. So then we won't know what they are because they're going to be full-fledged Jews. I hear where you were coming from, but you got to maintain the psul is maintained.
Yeah. Okay.
Go and find me 10 people. You say in front of them, if somebody is zoicha for a fetus, even though he's not in the world yet, you could be koine for him. Now, even though you don't really need 10 people, why did they do 10 people? They wanted to spread the word. However, the halacha is if you try to mezakir for a fetus, he's not required it. Because the maskana is, we're not koine for something that's not in the world yet. They used to build, our chuppah, in the time of Chazal, they would build basically a house for the chassan. That's where they did the chuppah. The chuppah was like his house. So the birchas chassanim are done in the house of the chassan. Rav Yudah Ma'afavesai Rusim of Archanosa. That means when he was Makadesher, you also make the birchas chassanim. Rabbi Yehuda Shanu, this was only done in Judea. There they were worried. They did yichud with them. They were worried that he even had relations with them. So they already jumped the gun. They already birchas chasanim there because libo gaspa, they were, I guess, rambunctious with high libidos and they couldn't hold back. Therefore, they make the birchas chasanim right away. Kala beloy bracha sur labayla kanida. A kala, if you haven't made Shabbat brachas, you can't live with her like a nida. Tanidich mevarchim birchas chasan beveis chasanim. The Shabbat brachas are done in the beis chasanim. Uvirkas erusim beveis erusim. And this was done in the house of the erusim. Now, birchas erusim my mevarich. What was the bracha erusim? Ravin baravada, Ravav ravada, Tarvai mishmed. Ravin baravada, Varabba baravada, Tarvai mishmed Ravidu kamri. Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam. Asher kiddusham mitzvos v'tzivanu al harayos. V'yasar lanu sarusos. V'yitir lanu sanasuos al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin. Now you notice there's a word missing that we normally use. We say v'yitir lanu sanasuos lanu al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin. But the Gemara didn't have that language there.
Says hitter lanu.
The nusach habracha lefnei minig ha'ashkenazim. Asher k'deshem mitzvos al harayos v'yitir lanu sanasuos lanu al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin. So the only addition is the word, like I said, lanu. Rabbeinu Tam said hanasuos lanu. Based on Rabbeinu Tam. The Sfardim say yedei chuppah v'kiddushin with a base. The Teimanim have ours. V with a vav. Ravacha b'rei Rav Mesayim ba mishmei Ravidu Baruch atah Hashem mekadesh Yisrael yedei chuppah v'kiddushin. I think we say mekadesh Amo Yisrael is our nusach. Baruch atah Hashem mekadesh Amo Yisrael yedei chuppah v'kiddushin. Correct. Our nusach is that we add Amo. The mandalei chosim, the person who don't hold to make a chasima is like abirchas peres v'abirchas mitzvahs. We say boy praise. We don't make a chasima bracha. Or al natilas lula. We don't make a chasima. Mandalei chosim midid hava kiddush. It's like when we make kiddush. Brachat, we say brachat Hashem mekadesh Shabbos. Ton rabbanim mevarchim birchas chasanim pasar kol shiva. We do it all 7 days. Amar of Yehuda v'hu shabo parim chadosha. So famous halacha. You have to have a new person every day that wasn't there the other day. When there's new people that weren't there before, then you can make a Sheva Brachos in every Suda. And then we're going to learn my Mavarech. We'll learn about the different Sheva. By the way, I once heard a very good vort. I heard it from Rabbi Sobolovsky, who married Samet from the Valley. Was one of the Rosh Yeshiva in YU. Where do you see that we ever make a bracha on a lav? We don't. We make brachas on mitzvahs aseh, on the tilas lolav, al tkir shoifer. Where do you see that you have a bracha on a lav? So this is one of the examples. We say ala rayos. Baruch Hashem ala ray. That means, blessed are you, O God, who gave us the prohibited relations. Those are lavim. That we're not allowed to marry our mother and our sister, the arayos. So this is the example. So, but how is that? How is that? How is that? We don't see that we make brachos on lavim. So I once heard him explain that like this. By the Ben Noach, they also are not allowed to have relations with certain family members. mother, sister, daughter. Just like Jews. What Jews have beyond the Ben Noach is in-laws. We can't live with our mother-in-law, with our daughter-in-law, with our sister-in-law. In-laws. Relations that come through marriage. The prohibition is because we become one family with our in-laws. That's a bracha. That's a mila. We're not making a bracha on the lav. We're making a bracha on this concept that when we get married, the concept of we become one family. And now they become prohibited to us just like our own family is prohibited to us. So in a sense, it's a bracha on a positive thing, not on a negative thing. I think that's a good vort.
Beautiful word, yeah.
Right? Right?
Perfect, beautiful.
It's a
Beautiful, yeah.
machshava. Okay, guys. So tomorrow